Okay, as part of our professional learning community, we've worked in the fall of 2019 um, to kind of review and examine and update information which our college and career readiness program could use and that we can share with each other as instructors. We talked about a number of topics. One of those topics is kind of classified as school world. And that's the idea of things that you do in school that maybe don't exist in your normal life. One of the ideas along this line that I became very aware of as an instructor is many times our students really don't know how to be students. School might not have been successful from them, they come from a different culture, and it was kind of an eye-opener for me that some of the students I worked with really didn't know the things that I assumed all students know. So I focused in the fall of 19, and please know this is a work in progress, still being updated, but I kind of focused on this school world, and I wanted to spend some time examining two things. One of them is what we call the process poster. The process poster is really kind of this document right here, which hopefully we have copies of for everybody. And you can choose on how you use it, but this process poster is really designed to teach the students how to use educational books. They often don't know that. This originally came to us from the previous lead instructor, Jolene, who shared this idea. It was one of those eye-openers for me too, that wow, I thought everybody knew how to use educational books. And where we started with this and where it is now is the work of some of the updates. So hopefully there's going to be handouts, you can see this. I've also posted it with each of the curriculum files in the OneDrive, and for those in the PLC, I've also posted it under the School World folder. The other one is one that I began working on about a year ago to help students try to become college students. And I want our program to be connected to the college, and I want them to understand that being a student is more than coming to class. And again, it was kind of an eye-opener to me that some of our students didn't know this. They expected everything to be okay if they just showed up. So I did some research, and my starting point was the Carnegie Foundation has put out research, and theirs was originally titled Carnegie Note-Taking Strategies. And so initially I took that, downloaded it, and reviewed it with students. Over the last few months, I've modified the Carnegie note-taking strategies. I must emphasize I used their research and I used that as a background, but I began to modify this very specifically for our students in adult education. So I've now made it look like this, and it's kind of called my tips for learning. And I go over this with students very specifically, actually both of these documents on my day one orientation. And I make sure they have copies of the process and copies of this, but I also don't say one and done, because I very closely monitor our students, especially with that emphasis on high expectation, that these students need to know what is expected of them as a student. And that includes such things as however much time you spend in class, you need to plan for that amount of time out of class. And my tips for learning based on the Carnegie strategies has kind of helped that in its development. So I use this one specifically day one, but within a couple weeks I'm asking them to pull out the paper again, and we go over it very specifically with an emphasis maybe on students that aren't getting homework done, that are expressing to me that maybe they're struggling a little bit, or I just see that maybe they're struggling a little bit. And the big emphasis I remind them about is they have to study. Studying is critical. So the use of the process and the tips are really part of the school world piece that maybe they're not always familiar with. So again, hopefully we have handouts on this. Please know that this is a work in progress. I'm going to continue to look at it, and I'll continue to share and update this. And please, as you look at them, if you have any suggestions for me that I could update these, or maybe some ideas that you have, please go ahead and email me, and I'll continue to work to update this as part of our school world understanding to hopefully help our students out in the college and career readiness program.